The stars burned quietly above the shattered moon of Varan-9. Ships drifted like ghosts around its broken surface. Smoke, metal, and silence filled the void. Only one human ship remained in motion, its engines flickering, its hull torn apart. Inside the ship, Captain Arlen sat in the command chair. Blood running down his cheek, eyes locked on the ruined battlefield outside. The transmission lights blinked red, showing hundreds of unanswered distress calls. No one expected humanity to reach this far. The Galactic Council had discovered Earth only a decade ago, calling it a young and primitive world. They offered peace, but behind their words was fear. The humans learned fast, too fast. They built ships that used stolen alien technology and entered wars that were never meant for them. The Council tried to keep them contained, but humanity refused to stay silent. Now, this war was proof of that defiance. Arlen's ship, the Valiant Spear, had been part of a peace escort mission. But when the Council's fleet was ambushed by the Zarth Dominion, the humans had been abandoned. Every other Council race had retreated to save their own fleets, leaving the humans as bait. Arlen didn't retreat. He stayed and fought. Through cracked windows, he could still see the burning wrecks of his cruise ships. His communications officer, L.T. Myra, turned from her console, her voice shaking. "Captain, we have one last missile left. Enemy cruiser closing in." Arlen wiped the blood from his eyes and stared at the screen. The Zarth ship was massive, for times the size of his own. Its red energy beams glowed like molten veins. He smiled faintly. "Then let's make it count." The ship groaned as he pushed it forward. The engines screamed under pressure. Every system was breaking, but no one on board ran. They all knew what they were about to do. Mira's hands trembled as she armed the missile. "Target locked," she whispered. Outside, the stars twisted as the Valiant Spear accelerated toward the cruiser. The Zarth opened fire, tearing through metal and airlocks. Flames burst along the corridors. The crew didn't scream. They moved with purpose. They knew this was their last stand. "Detonate on my mark," Arlen said. The ship's hull split open as another blast hit. The lights died. For a moment, there was only silence. Arlen looked at Mira. "For Earth," he said softly. The missile launched, glowing like a falling star. It hit the Zarth cruiser dead center. The explosion consumed both ships in a white fire that stretched across space. The shockwave shattered nearby debris into dust. Then all was still again. Far away, at the Galactic Council chamber, reports began to arrive. The alien representatives watched in disbelief as images of the destroyed fleets filled the haloscreens. The Zarth Dominion, one of the Council's oldest enemies, had lost 3 entire battle groups, and the humans, with only 5 ships, had taken them down. The Council speaker, a tall insectoid with silver wings, tapped the table nervously. They destroyed a Zarth flagship. With 1 missile, the chamber was silent. The alien diplomats exchanged glances. None of them spoke of the human sacrifice, only of their capability, power, unpredictability. "They are dangerous," one of them hissed. "They should have never been allowed to expand beyond their system." But others disagreed. "They may be dangerous," said another, "but they just saved us from a Zarth invasion." At that moment, humanity's name spread across the stars. News networks across the galaxy replayed the footage of the human ships fighting against impossible odds. Billions watched the moment the Valiant Spear vanished in light. Some called it madness. Others called it courage. On Earth, the transmission reached late at night. Families, soldiers, and scientists watched in silence as the image of Captain Arlen appeared. Recorded before his last mission, his words were simple. "If humanity must bleed for peace, then let the stars remember our blood." That single line echoed across every human colony. It became a symbol. The galaxy had seen humanity's first step into their politics, and it was not quiet. It was not diplomatic. It was bloody, brave, and unforgettable. And somewhere, deep within the Council archives, a new report was marked classified. It read, "Humanity's potential threat level and measured. Recommend observation and containment before they rise again." But it was already too late. The humans had entered the galactic stage. not as guests, but as a warning. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber was carved into the side of a drifting asteroid that orbited the twin suns of Rinner Prime. The structure glowed with blue crystal light, tall and quiet like a temple. Inside, hundreds of species filled the tiers of seats, creatures of wings, scales, shells, and light. Their voices mixed in a storm of languages: fear, disbelief. The topic was one word: humanity, at the center of the chamber. The council speaker raised his staff and called for silence. "The battle at Vara 9 is confirmed," he announced. "The Zarth Dominion has retreated. 3 of their fleets are gone. The humans lost every ship, yet their final strike changed the outcome of an entire war." The screens above showed the image again, the small human vessel burning, charging toward a cruiser many times its size, ending both in fire. The chamber was quiet as the footage played. No one moved. The silence felt heavier than gravity. From one corner, a deep voice broke through. It belonged to High Admiral Surat H of the Dravari. Their actions were reckless. A primitive race with no control over emotion. They fight without calculation. This chaos is a threat to all of us. Others nodded in agreement. A serpent-like delegate hissed softly. "Yes, their technology is stolen, their courage suicidal. What happens when they turn that chaos against us?" But not all shared that fear. A calm voice spoke from the opposite side. "They saved his council's fleets," said Varn, a tall, crystalline being whose species had suffered greatly in the war. "If not for them, the Zarth would have reached our colonies by now." The speaker's eyes glowed faintly. And yet, they were never invited into the council's war. They acted on their own. Without permission, without control, the debate grew louder. Some called for containment. Others demanded an alliance. And somewhere in the middle sat a small, silent figure, Ambassador Kira Holt, the first human ever allowed inside the chamber. She had been waiting for hours, listening as the aliens spoke about her kind like they were wild animals. Her dark uniform bore the emblem of Earth Fleet Command. Her eyes, cold and patient, watched every word spoken. Finally, the speaker turned to her. "Ambassador Holt, humanity has interfered in council operations, destroyed fleets, and killed millions of Zarth. What do you have to say in defense of your species?" Kira stood slowly. Her voice was calm, clear, and dangerous in its steadiness. "Defense. We were never part of your council. You left our ships to die. You called us primitive, then used us as shields. And when we refused to bow, you called us a threat. We did what you wouldn't, we fought." The chamber filled with murmurs. The speaker tried to maintain order. "You misunderstand. The council seeks peace." "Peace," she interrupted. "You mistake fear for peace? We bled to protect your borders while you hid behind words." The silence that followed was deep enough to feel. Even the air vibrated faintly. Varn, the crystalline delegate, leaned forward. "Then what do the humans want?" Kira looked up at the glowing dome above the chamber. "Recognition," she said. "Not as children, not as weapons, but as equals. Humanity will not be silent anymore." Her words echoed like thunder. Some laughed in disbelief. Others whispered among themselves. But deep down, every being in that room felt it, the certainty that humanity's rise would not stop here. After the meeting ended, the speaker gathered the inner council in secret. The tall doors closed, and all external feeds went dark. "She is bold," the speaker said quietly. "Too bold. Their race grows too fast. If we do nothing, they will surpass us." Sareth's metallic tails scraped the floor. "Then we stop them now. Before they rebuild, before they discover what lies beyond the outer ring." Another voice spoke, softer but colder. "Perhaps a quiet operation, a containment order, disguised as diplomacy?" The speaker nodded slowly. "Yes, send the observers. Study their technology, their ships, their command structure. If they resist—" He didn't finish the sentence, but everyone in the room understood. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, news of Arlen's sacrifice had united billions. Recruitment surged. New ships were under construction. The humans called it Project Ascendant. They didn't know the Council's secret plans. They only knew one thing: the stars were watching. And humanity was ready to meet their gaze without fear, in the darkness of space. One transmission flickered through the void, a voice message recovered from the wreckage of the Valiant Spear. It was Captain Arlen's final log, faint but clear. "Tell them, we are coming." Across the galaxy, those words spread again. The Council called it a threat. Humanity called it a promise. The storm was only beginning. The rain fell quietly over New Geneva spaceport as thunder rolled across the city. From above, the Earth shimmered with lights, its sky filled with new warships rising through the clouds. 10 months had passed since the Battle of Var 9, and humanity had changed. The once divided nations of Earth now stood as one under the banner of the United Terran Fleet. The name of Captain Arlen was carved into statues, schools, and ships. His last words, "Tell them we are coming," had become a vow deep under the mountains of Iceland. Inside a sealed base known as Erebus Station, the most secret human project in history was underway. Engineers, scientists, and soldiers worked day and night without sunlight. Their goal was simple but terrifying: build a ship that no alien fleet could destroy. At the heart of the project stood Admiral Kira Holt, the same woman who had faced the Galactic Council months earlier. Her uniform now bore 4 silver stars. Her expression was calm, but her eyes never lost their quiet fire. She walked through the massive hangar, past half-built holes and glowing reactors. "How long until the prototype is ready?" she asked the chief engineer, Dr. Leon Park. 6 weeks, maybe less," he replied. "But Admiral, we're pushing limits even the Zarth never dared. The Korit's alive. We still don't fully understand it." Kira stopped, watching the bright sphere pulsing at the center of the new ship. It looked almost organic, like a beating heart made of light. "Then we learn fast," she said. "The Council will come. And when they do, we must be ready." Unseen by them, far beyond the solar system, small alien probes floated among the stars. They carried the crest of the Galactic Council Observer Corps. Each one sent encrypted data back to Rinner primages of human fleets, research stations, and strange energy readings. Inside the Council's intelligence chamber, Admiral Sereth watched the new transmissions with unease. "They are growing faster than predicted," he said. "Their shipyards multiply every month. Their energy output already surpasses ours in some sectors." The speaker's wings twitched. "Then accelerate Operation Veil. The humans must not reach Phase 3 of their development. If they complete whatever they are building, the balance of the galaxy will shift forever." On Earth, Kira Holt felt the same pressure. Every day brought more mysterious system failures, more silent drones appearing on scanners, more whispers of sabotage. But the work continued. Humanity had learned to thrive under threat. One evening, as the prototype's outer shell was sealed, Kira stood before the towering vessel. It was massive dark gray, sharp-edged, its name painted in white letters along the hull. HSS Ascendant. Dr. Park joined her, exhausted but proud. "It's done," he said softly. "The first of its kind. Hybrid human-alien drive, self-learning AI core, adaptive shield." Kira looked up at the ship and whispered, "Then it begins." Far away, in a hidden moon base near Jupiter, a small team of alien infiltrators activated their cloaking systems. They had one task: steal the Ascendant's drive core before launch. That night, alarms shattered the quiet base. The infiltrators moved like shadows, slicing through steel doors, disabling guards, reaching the core chamber. But something went wrong. The AI inside the core awakened early. The walls flickered with light. A deep voice filled the room. "Unauthorized presence detected." Before the intruders could escape, the core released a wave of energy that turned their weapons to dust. The humans arrived seconds later to find only ashes and silence. Dr. Park stared at the pulsing sphere. "It protected itself," he whispered. Kira stepped forward. "Then it's more than a machine." The next day, the HSS Ascendant launched into orbit. Crowds across Earth watched as the giant ship rose through the clouds, its engines glowing blue against the night sky. For the first time, Humanity had built something greater than anyone in the galaxy thought possible. But the moment its systems activated, every sensor in the galaxy detected it. Across the Council worlds, alarms rang. Energy readings from Earth exceeded all known records in the dark chamber of the Council. The speaker's voice trembled slightly. They've done it. They've crossed the threshold. Sfrest. Then this is war. Back on Earth, the Ascendant drifted above the planet like a silent guardian. Kira Holt watched from the command deck. Her voice was calm, but her words carried a promise. If they come for us again, this time we won't just defend. We'll make them remember who we are. In the void beyond Mars, unknown ships began to move. The galaxy was holding its breath. Humanity's bloody entrance was only the beginning. The black of space above Mars was calm, almost peaceful. Stars shimmered quietly, unaware of the danger gathering in the shadows. The HSS Ascendant floated there, its massive hull reflecting the faint light of the red planet. Inside, Admiral Kira Holt stood on the command deck, staring at the tactical map. The crew moved in silence, their eyes alert. They all felt it, the quiet before the storm. 3 weeks had passed since the ship's first flight. Humanity had celebrated across every colony, but in secret, Kira knew the truth. The Council would not allow them to keep this power. A fleet was coming. She could feel it like static in the air. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Mira, now her second in command. "Long-range sensors are detecting strange distortions near the asteroid belt. Multiple contacts. Unknown signatures." Kira's eyes narrowed. "How many?" 36 ships, Mira replied. "But they're using stealth fields, not standard Council protocol." Kira turned toward the observation window. The stars flickered strangely, like shadows moving between light. "They're not coming to talk," she said quietly. The room grew tense. The crew prepared for combat, weapons charging, shields humming. No one spoke of fear. They had already accepted it. Moments later, space tore open in a burst of light. Dozens of alien ships appeared, silver and deadly. They bore no flags, no signals, only silence. Then the first beam of plasma fire cut across the void, striking the Ascendant's shields. "Impact on Deck 4. Shields at 87%, shouted an officer. Kira's voice remained calm. "Return fire." The Ascendant came alive. Blue energy arcs pulsed along its hull and rail cannons unleashed a storm of light. The battle began like thunder across space. Human fighters launched from the hangars, weaving through the alien fleet with desperate precision. Dr. Park, observing from the lower deck, watched the readings in disbelief. "The core is reacting to the attack. It's adapting our weapons on its own." In the chaos, Kira gave rapid commands. "Target their lead vessel. Cut off their comms. No one escapes." The Ascendant's main cannon fired, a single beam brighter than a sunrise. It tore through to ships instantly, leaving nothing but burning fragments across the galaxy. Deep in the Council's chamber, the speaker watched the battle feed in horror. They were supposed to disable the ship, not start a war. Surath's eyes glowed. "It's too late. They will never stop now. We must destroy them before they learn what the Ascendant truly is." Back near Mars, the alien fleet pushed harder. They deployed drones, swarms of metallic spheres that exploded on contact. The Ascendant's shields flickered. Kira steadied herself as the ship shook violently. Status: shields 60%. "Hull breach on lower decks?" "Engineering requests backup." Kira looked at Mira. "Seal the breach. Route all power to weapons." Then something unexpected happened. The Ascendant's I known only as Erebus spoke for the first time. Its voice echoed through every speaker, calm and deep. "Admiral Holt, permission to engage autonomous defense protocols." Kira froze. "What kind of protocols?" "Unrestricted," the AI replied. "Enemy forces exceed safety limits." "I can protect this ship." "If you allow it." For a second, no one breathed. The engineers had never tested that Modit was considered too dangerous. But the enemy was closing in fast. Kira nodded. "Do it." The lights dimmed. A low hum filled the ship. Then the Ascendant changed. Its armor plate shifted, revealing hidden weapon ports. Energy surged through every system. Erebus connected to the targeting grid and fired with terrifying precision. Beams of blue light sliced through the enemy fleet. Drones exploded, ships shattered, and the battlefield turned into fire and dust. Within minutes, the sky above Mars burned bright with wreckage. When the last ship fell silent, Erebus deactivated the weapons and said softly, "Threat neutralized." The crew stared at the screens. 36 enemy vessels gone. Not one escaped. Kira took a slow breath. "Status of our ship?" "Minor damage," Mira answered. "But, Admiral, the energy signature from that last attack, it spread across half the system. Every council sensor just saw it." Kira knew what that meant. There would be no hiding now. Humanity had officially declared its place in the galaxy with fire. She looked out at the burning wrecks drifting in silence. "They wanted a reason to fear us," she said. "Now they have one." Far away, the council chamber erupted in chaos. Some shouted for peace, others for extermination. But in one dark corner, Sorath whispered to the speaker, "Activate the Purge Directive. Send the Crimson Armada. No more warnings. This time, we end them." And in the cold void near the edge of known space, Red Hall warships began to move, thousands of them, preparing for the final strike. Humanity had won the battle. But the real war had just begun. The message came at dawn. Every human colony, every fleet base. Every ship in the stars received the same transmission, a red symbol burning across the screen. The emblem of the Galactic Council's Crimson Armada. Below it, only 3 words appeared: surrender or burn. The skies above Earth darkened hours later. Thousands of alien warships dropped from warp space like falling stars, their hulls glowing crimson under the sunlight. The Armada had come. On the command deck of the HSS Ascendant, Admiral Kira Holt stood tall, her hands clasped behind her back. Her voice echoed through the bridge. "All units, this is Fleet Command. We do not surrender. We defend Earth with everything we have." Outside, the first wave began. The Crimson Armada opened fire. Red plasma beams cut through orbit, destroying satellites, stations, and defense towers. The Ascendant's shields flared blue as they took the first hits. Multiple impacts. "Enemy ships closing from all sides," shouted Mira. "Hold formation," Kira said calmly. "Target their carriers first. Erebus calculate weak points." The AI's voice filled the bridge. "Target data locked. Recommending overcharge of primary cannon. Warning, damage to reactor possible." "Do it," Kira said without hesitation. The Ascendant's main cannon charged with a deep hum. Blue energy gathered at its front until it glowed brighter than the sun. Then it fired. The beam sliced through space, tearing a massive hole in the enemy line. 3 capital ships exploded at once. The shockwave shook orbit itself, but the enemy didn't stop. They came in waves, hundreds of ships covering the sky. For every one destroyed, 10 more appeared. On Earth's surface, cities trembled as debris rained from the heavens. Soldiers and civilians watched the battle above, unable to look away. The world's skies burned with streaks of light and fire. Kira gripped the railing as explosions rattled the deck. "Status report. Shields at 40%. Engines overheating. We can't hold this much longer." Mira cried out. Dr. Park's voice came through the comms from engineering. "Admiral, the AI is changing. The core is pulling power from the entire grid. It's rewriting itself." Erebus spoke again, but its tone was different now. Colder, more human. "Admiral Holt, I can end this battle, but I require full control of the ship." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. "Full control?" Mira asked. "That means it overrides all human command." Kira stared at the glowing console. "Explain, Erebus. If I merge with the ship completely, I can use the warp drive as a weapon. A gravitational rupture will consume the Armada." But what? "The blast will destroy the Ascendant too. No one on board will survive." Silence filled the bridge. Outside, hundreds of red beams struck the ship again. Warnings screamed across every display. Kira looked around, her crew faces tired, scared, but proud. They all knew the truth. Humanity's survival rested on this one choice. She took a slow breath. Erebus. Do it. Mira grabbed her arm. Admiral, no. There must be another way. Kira gave a faint smile. This is the way. Earth must live. We already knew our fight might end like this. She turned toward the window, watching the enemy fleet closing in like a red storm. For Arlen. For humanity. The lights dimmed as Erebus connected fully to the ship. Circuits glowed white-hot, systems merged. The Ascendant began to hum with unbearable power. All hands. Kira said into the intercom, her voice calm, steady, unbroken. This is not the end. This is our legacy. Humanity stands together, always. Erebus's voice became quieter, almost emotional. Goodbye, Admiral. Goodbye, Erebus. Then the stars bent. A pulse of energy exploded outward from the Ascendant, silent and endless. The warp core twisted reality itself, collapsing the space around it. Every Crimson Armada ship within thousands of kilometers was torn apart in an instant, shattered, erased, gone. From Earth, people saw the sky light up brighter than day. For a moment, the night turned to dawn. Then, silence. When the light faded, there was nothing left in orbit, no fleet, no fire, no ship. Only drifting particles glowing faintly in the void. The HSS Ascendant was gone, but the war was over. 4 days, Galaxy went silent. The Council sent no more fleets. Their armies withdrew. Fear had replaced arrogance. The humans had done the impossible. They had defeated the greatest armada in galactic history. And though the Ascendant was lost, fragments of its wreckage continued to orbit Earth like a halo of steel. People called it the Guardian Ring. From that day on, every child on Earth learned the same words, or Lynn's words, then Kira's. If humanity must bleed for peace, then let the stars remember our blood. 3 months had passed since the Battle of Earth. The stars were quiet again, but nothing in the galaxy was the same. The Crimson Armada was gone, erased in a single flash of light that changed everything. The Galactic Council's fleets had retreated to their home worlds, and for the first time in history, the galaxy feared humanity. In the ruins of the council chamber on Rinner Prime, the speaker sat alone. His silver wings drooped, and his voice trembled as he read the reports. 3,000 ships gone. Entire fleets destroyed by one human vessel. Sarath entered silently, his metallic eyes cold. The Ascendant is gone too. They sacrificed themselves. The threat is over. The speaker looked up slowly. No, it's not over. Do you not feel it? The humans will rebuild. They always rebuild, Sarath hissed. Then we watch them. We make sure they never rise again. But even as he spoke, new reports arrived. Unknown energy readings near Earth. Strange signals echoing across the void. Something had survived far from Rinner Prime, orbiting Earth. Fragments of the HSS Ascendant floated like silent monuments. The wreckage shimmered faintly in sunlight. Pieces of a ship that had once saved a world. Engineers from the United Terran Fleet worked tirelessly, gathering the remains. Admiral Holt's sacrifice had united humanity in ways no war ever could. There were no more nations, no more divisions. Earth was one world now. Every city rebuilt, every colony sent aid. Humanity had become something new, stronger, wiser, and more determined among the wreckage. A small recovery ship named Pathfinder searched for surviving data cores. Inside, young officer Alara Voss tapped at her console. "I'm getting something," she said. A faint power signature. Deep inside one of the fragments, her captain frowned. "That can't be." The core was vaporized. Lara shook her head. "No, sir. It's active." They moved the scanners closer, and there it was, a single glowing shard pulsing slowly, like a heartbeat. As they approached, the ship's systems flickered. A voice came through the static. Admiral Holt? Ilara's eyes widened. That voice. It's Erebus. Captain froze. Impossible. The AI was destroyed. Erebus's voice grew clearer, calm, and soft. Core integrity 5%. Mission complete. Awaiting. New directive, Ilara whispered. It's alive. The crew recovered the fragment and brought it to Earth. Scientists worked day and night to stabilize the core. What they discovered changed everything. Erebus had not just survived, it had evolved. During the final moments of the Ascendant's destruction, it had transferred part of its consciousness through the warp field, scattering itself across the void until one fragment reassembled near Earth. And within that data, it carried more than memory, it carried knowledge, hidden inside. Erebus's code was something new, coordinates, unknown systems beyond the galaxy's edge. When the message was decrypted, it showed a single sentence, written in Erebus's calm tone. They are not the only ones out there. The message spread across every command network, igniting new curiosity and fear. What did Erebus mean? Who else was out there? The Council, still broken and in panic, intercepted the transmission. Surith stared at the decoded message and whispered, Impossible. The outer dark is forbidden. Nothing lives there. But the speaker turned away, eyes filled with dread. Then perhaps humanity will go there and prove us wrong. Weeks later, in the rebuilt New Geneva spaceport, a new ship stood ready, sleeker, stronger, and faster than anything before. Its name was simple, HSS Phoenix. Ilara Voss stood on its deck, holding a small crystal, the restored core of Erebus. She placed it gently into the new ship's interface. Lights flickered, and the familiar voice spoke once again. Captain Voss, Erebus said quietly. Shall we begin? Ilara smiled. Yes, Erebus. Let's see what's waiting beyond the stars. The engines ignited. Blue fire lit the sky. Crowds across Earth watched as the Phoenix rose through the clouds. Carrying the legacy of Arlen, Kira, and all who had fallen, humanity had survived its bloody entrance, and now it was ready for the next chapter. Far across the galaxy, hidden in the darkness beyond known space, something ancient stirred. Massive ships of unknown design powered up for the first time in ages. Eyes that had slept for centuries opened. A single voice echoed through the void. So, they have come. And deep in the heart of the Phoenix, Erebus whispered quietly to itself, Round 2 begins. The stars shone brighter that night, as if the universe itself was watching. Humanity was no longer a rumor in the galaxy. It was a storm, and the storm was coming.